Hello and welcome. If you haven't already, I invite you to please click subscribe. There's no obligation, and it allows you to be notified of all new chapters. Additional information about the story, including the author, chapter warnings, and rating, can be found in the description below. All credit goes to the original author. Bleeding Skies by Orphan Account. Chapter 7 The Puncture. Lydia takes off her headset and practically throws it at Scott, rushing to the back of the plane with Derek right behind her, where she finds a ghastly pale Stiles, literally gasping for air. Liam returns to the front of the plane, taking over the headset as Scott too rushes to the back of the plane. The youngest of the wolves explains to Mike what is going on, as his sharp ears take in every single word and sound. Stiles! Stiles! I'm here. Listen to me. Lydia grasps her friend's hand tight, forcing him to look at her. Malia helplessly looks at her wounded boyfriend, tongue-tied. Help is on the way. You need to calm down. We're all here, remember? Malia, Scott, Derek, and Liam too. We're going to get you to a hospital, okay? Lydia's soft but firm voice is unable to get through to Stiles. When he looks at her, she notices how confused he is. Beads of sweat cover his face. He is bitten on his own lip, a tiny wound appearing where his teeth went through his own skin. Stiles barely recognizes her as he struggles with the pain taking over every single thought inside his head. If only he would pass out, Lydia thinks for a second, only to realize then that that might actually be the worst thing that could happen to him right now. He might never wake up again. Help me, Lydia, he simply says, casting his eyes up at her, searching her out as his aid. I will, she vows. We all will. Liam rushes towards the back of the plane. I have some instructions, he exclaims. Apparently, planes like these carry a standard, obligatory first aid kit that holds medication, needles, syringes, some meds. It should be in the back of the plane, in the storage unit somewhere. That's why I couldn't find it first. Scott watches as Derek hurries to the back and rummages with Liam through the unit, searching for the kit until they pull it out of a box. The kit consists of two large black cases that both hold a large stock of medical supplies. Derek hands the box over to Lydia before he walks back to the front and pushes the intercom button, removing the headset so they can all hear. Mike, we're here, he says aloud. Talk to us. Okay, I'm patching you through to Dr. Wills. He'll guide you through this. Mike's voice resounds through the plane's belly. Another voice is heard on the intercom, an older male voice that somehow reassures them all that they can work together to save Stiles. Okay, Derek, the doctor says. The first thing we need to do is examine Stiles and determine the extent of his injury. Can you make him as comfortable as possible? Don't let him lie down completely just yet. Leave him in an upwards position. That will help him to breathe better. Okay, just tell us what to do, Doc, Derek says, carefully cutting open Stiles' t-shirt. He nods at Lydia, who gently touches his chest, while Scott extracts some of his pain through his left hand, gasping at the extent of it. Stiles allows them to explore the hurt area, focusing his eyes on Malia and Derek kneeling before him. Take a good look at his chest. Is it swollen? Yes, Lydia says, placing a hand on Stiles' chest. It's swollen and warm to the touch. How warm? He's definitely running a pretty high fever. Stiles stares at the wolf, allowing Derek to grasp his left hand so his chest is visible to Lydia. The entire right side is swollen, Lydia further explains. It's difficult for him to breathe. I can hear a rattling sound when he inhales air. He's in obvious, excruciating pain. I'm pretty sure the lung is punctured as we feared. Styles leans back, allowing the exam to continue as he focuses on his breathing, staring in front of him. Okay. I need you to do something that will cause a lot of pain to Styles, but it's necessary. He needs to be moved onto his right side. That way, his body will counteract against the broken ribs and allow his punctured lung to expand. To do this, you need to lower his chair or place him on the ground. Is that possible? Scott looks into the smaller back compartment of the aircraft. The chair can't be moved further backwards, but if we move our bags and the pilot's boxes, we might be able to free up some space and lay him down. There are more blankets in the back, Liam says, moving towards the back as he starts making room for Styles. We can use them as a mattress to lay him on. Okay. When you lay him down, make sure that he doesn't topple forward, or he might damage his lung further. Be prepared, though. It will hurt. Dr. Wills speaks through the intercom. That's reassuring to know. Styles grins through gritted teeth. Styles, you'll feel much better afterwards, Dr. Wills reassures him. Derek and Scott carefully work together as they lift Styles from his chair. Slowly, they make their way to the back of the plane, Styles' legs gliding from under him as they carry his weight. Easy, Styles, Derek speaks calmly. Just lean on me. We're going to lower you down on the ground now, one step at a time. The wolf focuses on extracting as much pain as he can as they proceed, knowing it will not be enough. He's troubled that Styles doesn't make jokes anymore. With Derek and Scott holding him tight, Styles allows his knees to bend and to be seated onto the ground. Scott stays in front of him, forcing Styles to focus on him while Derek sits behind him. His hands won't leave his left arm, holding him in place as Derek does the hard work. Now's the difficult part, Derek says. Styles, are you ready? Styles nods shortly and feels Derek pull back gently on his upper body, laying him down on the ground, at the same time swiftly turning him onto his right. Styles screams in pain, for one long moment feeling like he will die right there, begging for someone to knock him out. But it's exactly that pain that keeps him alert, to vividly experience every single movement he has to go through. And then, he's lying down on his side and somehow is able to breathe better, even if that is relatively speaking. Done, Derek sighs in relief, rubbing the sweat of his forehead as he looks at Scott, who gratefully nods. Lydia and Malia sink down on their knees by Styles. He has instinctively gone back to clutching his chest, half because he's recuperating slowly from the ordeal. It's better now, right? Malia asks, troubled. Not yet, Dr. Wills speaks through the speaker. That was the easy part. Now follows the tricky one. Scott startles. What do you mean? The next step is to get Styles to regain full use of his lung. For that, you will have to insert a needle into his chest and allow the lung to expand. Otherwise, this was all for nothing, the doctor explains. Are you kidding me? Scott almost shouts. We're not doctors, doctor. I hope you're joking. Dr. Wills scrapes his throat. I'm afraid not. Styles' lung needs to be saved. In the kit that you have retrieved from the back of the plane, you will find several long needles. Retrieve the middle-sized one, get bandages, a tube, antiseptic, and tape from the kit. There are some gloves too and antiseptics. It should all be there. Derek and Scott stare at each other, both frightened of what is expected of them. Lydia gasps as Styles' hand grasps hers. She looks down at Styles, whose feverish eyes stare at her intently, grabbing her attention. Yes. Yes, you can, he quips. Lydia, please. You're the smart one. You know how this works. National Geographic and all. I know you read those thick medical books. Can't hide them from me. Lydia instinctively reaches for her necklace, wrapping her hands around the pendant as she closes her eyes for a brief moment. As she looks up, she finds all the others watching her, expecting her to resolve this. They know she can do it. She's probably the only one. You brought me back once. You're inside my head. This is peanuts, Stiles whispers. It won't be that bad. Good thing it's me and not you. I pass out at the sight of blood, remember? Stiles, I can't do this, she gently whispers. You can. You will, or I die. Stiles' voice fades, but not before he reminds her of what is at stake. Lydia looks up to find Malia pleading with her silently. She knows she has to do this. There's no one else. She knows none of them can do this, and Stiles is aware of this too. Lydia, Scott starts, but she raises her hands. Okay, Lydia says, taking deep breaths. I can do this. We can do this. Derek, Scott, get everything ready. I need your help. Can you guys do that for me? Derek smiles briefly and starts rummaging through the first aid kit, helped by Liam. Scott and Malia follow Lydia's orders as she points out what they need to do. They lay a clean blanket next to Stiles and spread out the medical material on top of it. I found everything except the gloves, Derek says. We'll have to be careful. We can't wash our hands anywhere. Lydia nods, then gets up and rummages through her luggage, retrieving a hand cleanser which she rubs over both hands. She hands the bottle to Scott, who does the same. I'm ready, she then says. Okay, now listen to me very carefully, Will speaks through the speaker. Place your hand on Stiles' chest and roam over it until you find the lower part of the swelling. That should be about 3 fingertips away from the sternum. Lydia closes her eyes as her hand gently scans Stiles' chest, doing exactly what he says while the others follow her every move. Found it? Okay. Disinfect it with antiseptic. Use pads. Scott cleans the area on Stiles' chest, watching his best friend stare back at him. Done, Scott says, while Malia's hand gently strokes Stiles' feverish forehead. Stiles' eyes are open, watching Lydia's and Scott's every move. Derek returns to taking some of the pain away at Stiles' shoulder, while Liam holds his ankle, doing the same. Now, take the needle out of its package and make sure not to touch the sharp end. It needs to stay clean. Keep the tube ready. Scott pulls the tube out of its package and readies it for Lydia to use. She's holding the needle in her hand, taking deep breaths to calm herself. She knows she can kill Stiles too, but somehow Dr. Will seems to believe she won't. Neither do her friends, neither does Stiles. He smiles gently at her. Dr. Martin, he quips, has a nice ring to it. Shut up, Stiles, she replies, but her lips are turned upwards in a smile. Now, push the needle into Stiles' chest, Dr. Wills orders. You'll feel it go through the hard part, and then into a softer area that feels like a cushion. That's his lung tissue you'll be feeling. You'll hear a sound like air escaping. That's the sign it's working, and you've pressed the right spot. Then you need to push the tube into place and keep it there. Tape it onto his chest so it holds. Lydia stares at Scott as she listens to the doctor's orders. "Is he freaking kidding me?" she mouths. Scott almost laughs. "No, he's not. You'll need to administer pain medication once you're done. Can you check in the kit if there are sedatives present you can inject?" "None," Malia replies. "I already checked. They're just some pills. I'm not sure he can swallow anything right now." Don't need it," Stiles mutters. He looks begging at Derek. "Stiles, this will hurt like hell," Dr. Wills warns. "You most likely won't be able to cope with the pain." "Just do it," Stiles mutters through clenched teeth. Scott looks at Stiles. "Are you sure?" Stiles nods. Then he sighs deeply, his voice hoarse and filled with pain. "No, I'm not. Just do it. Whatever it takes." Lydia forces back the tears in her eyes, forcing herself to relax as she looks at him. She can do this. She knows that. She has to.